Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. Hope you enjoyed that lovely brutal OST as we've returned. We returned here with our next matchup. We returned with the winners match. The winners match here of the LiuLi Cup 2025 Grand Finals Group B. We just wrapped up with our first two matches, and now we have our two winners facing off in that best of three. Clem versus Cyan of all players. Again, Cyan, he was able to pop off against Shin. Shin was hyper aggressive, and we saw that Cyan, he definitely had a playstyle he preferred in the PvZ matchup, going into this more robo heavy and more Colossus heavy style. Shin was able to excel in the first game with mutas, but he did rely on that a little bit too much throughout the course of the series. He was a hard shut down in game number 3. Things that snowball out of control, but now we have our fresh best of 3 here, and we'll see how Cyan fares against a Terran instead of a Zerg. Let's go. Let us go. Now, if you recall, Cyan did take down Maru 2-0 last year. That was at the beginning of last year, beginning of 2025. So Cyan, he's had some big accolades and some big wins in PvT before. Can he do it again? As spawning in the bottom hand corner of White Rabbits, we have the blue Protoss player. We have the Chinese Protoss. It is Cyan. And spawning in the top right hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the red Terran player. The red Terran player himself, we have the French Terran. For Team Liquid, it is Clem. Here we go. Here we go. We have our next matchup. We have our TvP. Settling into this here, we are going to be opening up. Looks like more standard setups here, but quickly touching on Cyan, we kind of saw his style against Zerg previously, and what was important is that he has a preferred style that he tried to play every single game. I would say the same thing about TvP as well. We'll see if he has any kind of variance, any kind of variety here. I know that Clem does. Clem, he's very mid-game oriented, very early to mid-game oriented. If he can end the game early, he will. If he's forced into a longer game state, then he will slow things down and embrace that longer and later game, but we do expect an earlier timing and earlier aggression out of Clem, typically in Terran versus Protoss. He's, like many Terran players, is not one that enjoys the late game. Isn't one that enjoys it. For now, Cyan does scout for a proxy, checks the third location, making sure he's safe and sound. Meanwhile, single gas opener out of Clem going for a Rax expand. So economic opener. We go. Yeah, so from here we are going to be expanding. Clem, he's going for a greedier follow-up as well, so it's going to be Marine first. He's going to be skipping his Reaper, so no Reaper scattered across the map. Likewise, he's not going Marauder first either. No with the Tech Lab. Marauder follow-up, I meant to say. Cyan pokes in, and Cyan scouts the earlier CC. He also confirms the reactor, not the Tech Lab. So nice scouting here from Cyan. He's aware that Clem is being greedy. And we'll see if Cyan can punish that greed. Went for Stalker, not Adept. Okay, didn't go for the Adept opener. Oh, this I was not expecting though. Stargate out of Cyan. Okay. We're going to be opening up Stargate. This is a bit of a rarer sight. This should be for Oracles, for Oracle harass across the map. Stargate openers are typically reserved for larger maps like Winter Madness or like White Rabbit as well. True. So typically reserved for these larger maps instead, just because you can be punished quite hard. 2 base all-ins do hit very hard against Stargate openers just because you have that much less to defend. No Blink Stalkers, no Chargers, for example. You have Oracles and Phoenixes. But there's a lot of harassing potential here for Cyan. Especially if he goes unscattered. Stalker picks in. Just poking forward. Yes, from here we're building up. Now I assumed it was going to be an Oracle base opener. My apologies, we're going to be opening up Phoenixes. Okay, so this is a more of a macro build here by Cyan. Opening up Phoenixes. Sorry, I was just getting some water. I was just hydrating. But we are going to be going into Stargate, going to Phoenixes instead. With this, the goal should be to hunt down the initial drop play, and we are opening up with a Widowmine drop. This shouldn't get damage done. Cyan should shut down the Widowmine and the medevac as well. Yeah, Cyan's on the hunt. Does lift. Medevac should not get away, and nice cleanup here. Now, thankfully for Clem, it was only one Widowmine, right? If this was a double or triple Widowmine drop, then Clem, he would be behind. But he did switch out of Widowmine production early on, and he is pushing already, and we spoke about this. Whenever you open Stargate, you are vulnerable to 2-base all-ins, and Clem, he's pushing on 2 bases. Reinforcing with Vikings, with tanks, reinforcing with everything. Remember, there's no blink, there's no charge, there's no nothing to defend. Cyan is vulnerable, Cyan is expanding, getting a 3rd base as well. He spots the army, but can he actually survive this? Oh, we got slow lots. Yeah, we're gonna have slow. I think that's just game. I'll be. No. Clem pushes forward, getting within range of the 3rd. He should force a cancel. As now we have a 2nd tank getting within range. Charge is now beginning. The Phoenixes, they come in from behind. They're gonna be focused down. Yeah, one after the other. And Clem, he trades well here. It looks like Clem, he will lose everything though. Does hunt down 3 Phoenixes. Oh, rough kiting there against the Zealots. Okay. Cyan, he saves the base. I thought that was a dead expansion for sure. But nice save out of Cyan. It was messy, but he does hold. Okay, we have a game. We have a back and forth. Oh, good. Oof. Cyan does hunt down the tank. He's holding on, Baffy. He's holding on. Catching out more Marines. And from here, Cyan can look to stabilize. Building up his probe counts, likewise 3rd CC's on the way for Clem. The game will continue. As it all settles here, I will say that Clem is in a slightly better position. When it comes to the economies, Clem is looking stronger. Cyan, when it comes to his army, he did lose all of his Phoenixes. He's down to 2. So he doesn't really have too much to harass or to really maintain map control. At this stage of the game, you do want to get out of Phoenix production, so they're not being replaced. Does scout. Does break in. And scouts and pulls away. Now from here, Cyan has to work towards splash damage, whether it's Colossus or Storm. We got to work towards something. I believe Colossus should be on the horizon. Clem is already claiming his 3rd base. And we're building up into the mid game. We're getting there. Players are building up. We have the Bay on the way, so it is going to be Colossus. And Clem should be taking a defensive stance. Being active here against mass charge ults is risky for Clem. Yeah, calm down. Calm down, baby. Calm down. Backs off, pulls away. Claiming his 3rd, and I did mention at the beginning of the game that we did expect to see Clem be aggressive, but if need be, he can turtle up and build up into a longer later game. That's kind of what we're seeing here. I mean, I say that Clem is still being very active though. He wants to be aggressive. He wants to press his advantage. He's up in army supply. Cyan going for a massive Zealot run by. Zealots are moving in. They get spotted. Clemmy's racing back home to defend. Oof. He's racing back. We get a couple of decent mine shots. Religious connections. Nice control here by Clem. He aggroes the Zealots. Buys time. Defends back home, but he's also forced to turn around. So he does confirm the 4th base. Colossus are amassing. And again, the game should be slowing down. There's a sensor tower until eventually missile turrets. Vikings are being produced. We already have Liberators on the way and Ghost production as well. Force CC. Again, if Clem wanted to be aggressive, he's already missed that timing. So now it's all about maxing out. Just backing off, maxing out, embracing that later game. You could argue that Clem could start to be active with like drop play or try to poke in at some of these bases, but the reality is that if he does so and if he gets caught out, then he will lose any kind of lead and he'll be stuck at home and he will stay at home. It's a really kind of delicate balance as you get into the late game in TvP. It's why at this point a lot of Terran players do kind of accept this fate early, like we're seeing from Clem, where you just can't be active. You just have to stay at home. Otherwise there's a high chance to take a bad fight. So Clem staying at home. Cyan, interesting. This is a very fast switch into Sky Toss, Stargate, and a Fleet Beacon, and +1 air attack. Okay. So much faster transition. This might be too fast. I'm a little bit concerned here. So typically, the only reason why you want to switch into Sky Toss is if you believe that you cannot break your opponent. And usually it's on the Protoss player to max out to gain map control and to fight for the 4th base of the Terran, the 4th and the 5th. But here, Cyan's being very defensive himself. Like, he's not being active, he's not really applying any pressure, he's not trading with his opponents. He's getting ready for his Sky Toss transition here, but ideally, as a Protoss player, you want to be more active than this. Otherwise, Clem is just getting away with all this tech. And with the 4th expansion. Okay, ideally, the Terran player shouldn't be expanding this freely. Cyan's now moving in. Takes down the sensor tower. Catching a couple Marauders. At the same time going for a run by, but Clem is in position. Shuts down the Zealots, and again, this just feels very late. It just feels very, very late here for Cyan. Oh, nice catch, okay. Surround some of the fire. 3 more Three more Stargates on the way. That's going to be 5 Stargates in total. And we have carriers amassing. Okay. The scan. He sees everything. Yeah, Clem confirms the Fleet Beacon, the carrier production, and the extra Stargates. And that should prompt Clem to switch into more starports and into a heavier Viking count. You can see here making 3 Vikings at a time. And there is a 3rd starport being made. Meanwhile, Cyan does side on the 4th. Attempts to surround. Nice repair here from the SCVs. Yeah, he repairs well. Defends the expansion. Cyan has to get the hell out of here. Shell side over. Cashing out a handful of units. No major connections though. At the same time, Delta do hit the natural. Not bad. Clem out of position. SCVs are falling. And 9 SCV kills. But this is still a better fight overall here for Clem as he gets almost another Colossus. Almost another. As Clem is going to be committing in. Does outposition Cyan. Gets center expansion. Nexus goes down. Again, the Terran player should not be having map control at this stage of the game. Like this, it's just a really weird dynamic. But one of the reasons why is because of the Sky Toss. Like, it means that the ground army is that much weaker. Mass EMP swapping up. Carrier being chased down. Got more Vikings on the way. Oof. Yeah, Cyan is stuck on the low ground. No, no, rallying in. Not like this. And if Clem can push into the main, he can just win the game. He can just win the game then and there. He's so close to doing so. Zal's try to collapse in. One flank is too soon. Ah, that's a lot of Vikings going down though. Okay. Takes down most of the Vikings. But Clem can just stim in. Yeah, he can stim in. Mass EMP. Oof. Blanketing everything. It all gets EMP'd. Carriers are going down. Down to one carrier. One left, Pappy. One left. Ah. As Clem is still out trading. Nice control, nice splits. Up. We'll lose one Marauders to the Nova. Just the one. And Cyan is struggling to hold on. As I mentioned, it was just the switch into Skytles was just really awkward. It was just too fast, and likewise the aggression from Cyan was too late. I mean, gain map control, snowball out of control from there. Splits against the Novas. Does focus on the Disruptor. Carrier goes down. The Colossus as well. There's just nothing left. There's nothing here. GG gets called, and Clem takes game number 1. GG. Whew, GG, well played. Again, Cyan, he had a decent start to the game where he was able to hold on and claim his third base, but again, the economy was always lacking there for Cyan, and he never really gained map control. Like, he had an army to work with, but he was very, very passive with that army, just allowing Clem to get a 4th base, to get a 5th base, to build up, to max out. We saw just a very passive Cyan here. There was some run buys and some counterattacks, that is true, but they were few and far between. Few and far between. GG. GG, well played with that Clem. He's snowballed out of control, and now we're going to be loading into game number 2. We'll see if Cyan can recover and bounce back as we load into another larger map, as we load into the Old Republic. And spawning in the right-hand corner of the Old Republic, we have the French. Sorry, we have the... Oh god. Un momento. In the top right-hand corner, we have the Chinese Protoss player. We have the blue Protoss representing himself, currently seamless. It is Cyan. And spawning in the bottom left-hand corner, we have the red Terran player. We have the French Terran for Team Liquid. It is Clem. Let's go. Oh, did I have the wrong... I think I might have had the wrong name in the last game, so I do apologize. I might have left the UI on. Yeah. Oh, no, it was correct. Okay, thank God. But here we go. We're getting into game number 2 here. We're going to be settling on in. Now, winding it back, what happened in the last game? Cyan, he did open up Stargate. He went for a Stargate opener into Phoenixes. He shut down the first drop, but alas, he was punished. If you recall, afterwards, Clem, he went for an early move out. He went for an early push. As we tried to emphasize, Stargate openers do leave you vulnerable to early game aggression, and Clem was able to reset the Phoenix count, was able to trade well against the army. He barely didn't kill the third, but he still traded well enough. He still did trade well enough, and Cyan, he lost a lot of his momentum. He lost a lot of his map control, and he never quite gained it back. So we'll see what kind of opener we go for this time. Do we go Stargate once again, or do we switch things up and go for a Twilight Council, or even a Robo? True. Cyan has options. Meanwhile, once again, economic opener out of Clem. If you remember last game, he went Rax expand in towards a faster reactor, into reactor marine production. This time early tech lab. Okay, with this earlier tech lab, it should be an add-on swap into Cyclone play. This is a much safer build here for Clem. It was very greedy last game going for the reactor. This time, safer tech lab. Safer build. It's just me as a Protoss Deathball, the same versus every race. That is not true, but specifically for Cyan, He has been going for some more similar compositions. I say similar because both against Shin and against Clem, he did go very Colossus heavy, but against Shin, he went Colossus Archon. Against he went Colossus Archon Immortal. Against Clem, he went Colossus into Disruptor into Skytoss. The kind of the same kind of unit there, or the through line was Colossus, but the supportive armor was very different. Very different. Against Terran, ideally the Protoss player wants to stay on a lower gas count and they want to go into a heavier gateway composition and more zealots. Against Zerg, they want to go into a heavier tech army instead, as they're often more defensive against Zerg. So the overall armies are different because typically the goal is very different. Against Zerg, Protoss wants to like build up and turtle up and ideally get into Skytoss. Against Terran, they want to be aggressive and they want to stop the Terran from expanding and be in their face, which is why they stay on a lower gas count. Typically, if you recall, I was being a little bit critical last game of Cyan's passivity and his more defensive play, where he was unable to really deny the bases of Clem. But do you see what I see? I see not just the Twilight Council to blink into how many gates. We have 2 gateways in the main base. We have 1 gateway at the natural. We have 3 gate blink. So 3 gate blink, ooh, into an expansion before Robo. This is a very safe build. Very safe build here from Cyan, but does mix it up. I will say that. Does mix it up. Hello, Clem. Clem moves out with the SCV. Back at home, he does go for a very early tank production. Oh, so it was the early Cyclone into early tanks. This is leading into an early push. So very early move out here from Clem. Now, it's going to be on Cyan to see this coming ahead of time as the bunker's on the way. And Cyan, he's not being active on the map. Against Cyan, he has all these Stalkers in position to deny drops, right? You can see 3 Stalkers here in the main base, and likewise 2 Stalkers here at the natural. He's ready for a Widowmine drop or Banshee harass. We can see it's one big push. It's one big push, and the hallucination now confirms. And Cyan's out of position. He's out of position. He's now reacting. He's now racing on over. Shield batteries are on the way. Bunker should be denied. But ideally, Cyan, he wanted to slow this down. You want to be active on the map. You want to pick away the Marines, pick away the tanks, and slow down the push. But Cyan, he was stuck at home, ready for a drop that never came. So just a mystery there from Cyan. Clem moving in. Massive tank shots. Getting within range of the batteries. And this first battery should be denied. Oh, God. Yeah, Cyan's getting desperate. Does pull the boys. Battery's helping. Okay. Yeah, battery does help. Marines are going down, and Cyan, he will clean this up. Blinks in. He blinks in. He gets one. He gets both tanks. Both tanks go down, and Cyan, he defends. Whew. Yeah, a very messy defense here from Cyan, but he does barely hold on. It's actually very similar to last game. Ooh, he has to be careful. He has to respect that tank. And where exactly are we? So from here, Cyan, he has a decent economy. He has to be careful here about pushing in. Does not want to lose those Stalkers. Back at home, Clem, he's transitioning. We have a CC on the way. We have the eBay. We have another Rax as well, working towards Stim, working towards the follow-up. So we have a back and forth. The army is still in favor of Clem. That's why Cyan has to be careful. As we do kind of bounce off each other. But again, at least Cyan holds on to the third. He held on to the third base. Held on to the expansion. We got landed Viking harass at the natural. Does nice mining. And from here, we're getting into the mid game. Now, once again, the biggest downside of Cyan's current position here is that because of the early push and the early damage, Cyan doesn't really have a healthy Stalker count, and he's stuck at home. He's stuck at home. One of the big things that we were trying to mention coming into this game and coming into the series is how important it is to gain map control. To gain map control and to contain your opponent. Once again, this is something that Cyan does not have. He's stuck at home. He's stuck at home, which means Clem is free to just build up and do as he pleases. Against Terran, Immortals are not very good. That is not true. Immortals do have their place against Bio, specifically against more Marauder-heavy compositions. If you recall, especially Max Packs and Trigger, they were playing a lot with Colossus into Immortal instead of into Disruptor, especially after the Disruptor nerf. When the Disruptor radius was reduced and when the damage was reduced, that is when players were exploring the idea of having a more Immortal-heavy kind of supportive army instead of Disruptor. So that's something that you see every now and then. So Immortals, they have their place in this matchup, specifically against a more Marauder-heavy like Bio mid-game. There we go. Clem does move out. Once again, Cyan, he's not able to engage ahead of time. He has to buy time here for a splash damage. Colossus is on the way. Colossus is on the way. The base taking a lot of hits, a lot of damage. Can he dive on top of the tanks? Yeah, massive shots going off, focusing on the Colossus. Yeah, Colossus one more volley away from going down. Massive connections. Colossus falls. And Clem has done it. Clem, he has broken Cyan, breaks through the Colossus. There's one Immortal left. GG gets called, and Clem will claim the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. A clash of styles here between Clem and Cyan. We did mention this at the start of the series, but Clem was very active, was very aggressive, both in game 1 and in game 2 with these earlier move outs, with these earlier pushes. Meanwhile, Cyan, he was unable to really scout these move outs ahead of time and unable to engage ahead of time. It is so crucial, especially when you open Blink Stalkers like this, to be able to scout and to be able to move in and to pick away at the army, right? To push forward, to blink back, and to pick away at the Marines, to force a siege, maybe catch a tank, maybe catch a medevac, to slow down these pushes before they get across the map. But both times we saw that Clem, both pushes even this game, he was able to get across the map unseen, undeterred, and we saw that Cyan wasn't able to engage until the army was already sieged up in front of his bases. So unfortunately, just lack of vision, lack of map awareness, and lack of map control here from Cyan, which is honestly quite crucial in PvT. GG. GG, well played. With that, Clem does overwhelm, does claim the series, and Clem, he'll be the first player to advance on and to make it out in first place in Group B. GG. GG, well played. Clem, he does advance on in first place, and Cyan is going to be knocked down to the decider match. Oh boy. Now again, Cyan, he's going to be waiting for the winner of our next series. We next have our elimination match. It's going to be a ZVZ between both Shin and Rogue. Again, both Shin and Rogue, they did lose respectively to Clem and Cyan, and now they have to battle amongst themselves to determine who's going to be the first player to be eliminated from Group B. Oh boy.